Magic mushrooms. They're known for getting high, but now there's clinical research on the psychedelics on whether they could help with mental health. NBC6's Jamie Garola tells us about the new effort to make magic mushrooms legal in the state of Florida.
But let's be real, some people are probably sitting at home hearing this and thinking, this must be nuts. Magic mushrooms, could the drugs really help with mental health problems? Well, the FDA has labeled some of the research as breakthrough therapy, and one of a handful of clinical trials in the U.S. are right here in South Florida.
PTSD also manifests in, night terrors, nightmares all the time. Panic attacks, wanting to stay inside a lot and not socialize.
1 in every 5 adults battles with mental health conditions, according to the National Alliance of Mental Illness. 40-year-old Robert Roundtree is one of them.
Actually comes from, childhood trauma. I've also been robbed at gunpoint. I've been in a couple really bad car accidents.
The single father of one and Navy vet says he's tried multiple legal therapies to treat his conditions. But the most successful treatment, he claims, are magic mushrooms.
Most of the time, I might just take like half of a gram.
Magic mushrooms are naturally grown. They contain psilocybin, a naturally occurring psychoactive and hallucinogenic.
It really allows me to see the trauma and the things I've experienced and that I'm holding on to and that are giving me trouble in my life, maybe even causing self-destructive behaviors.
But magic mushrooms are illegal in Florida. They're in the same class of drugs as heroin, meth, and ketamine. One state lawmaker wants to change that by legalizing psilocybin, also known as psychedelics.
When people hear psychedelics and they think of some tripping hippie on LSD. That's not what this is.
Last month, Democrat State Representative Michael Grieco introduced the Florida Psilocybin Mental Health Care Act. If passed, it would allow state-sponsored clinics for patients suffering from disorders like PTSD, depression, and addiction.
This is not about having some sort of out-of-body experience. This is about microdosing. This is about doing it clinically and being done in a very controlled, medical, safe environment where folks are using this as treatment.
Research already exists about the use of magic mushrooms as medicine, and there are currently clinical trials studying the effects. Dustin Robinson is co-founder of a nonprofit behind the push to legalize psychedelics.
To some extent, it's an individual rights issue, but also we're in a mental health crisis right now. Previous to the pandemic, we were in a mental health crisis, and now we're obviously in an even worse crisis.
The National Alliance of Mental Health Illness calls Florida's mental health crisis an epidemic. The NAMI reports 660,000 adults and 181,000 children live with severe mental illness in Florida. But the state ranks 49th in mental health programs, spending $37.28 per person last year. And doctors like Michelle Weiner, who already use some legal psychedelics as therapy, say it's time to start considering alternatives to traditional medicine.
It kind of dampens our personal narrative, the story about ourselves. It helps us dissolve our ego, and it has a lot of antidepressant effects.
Magic mushrooms are usually ingested orally. Its effects last up to 6 hours. People like Roundtree look forward to the day they can use them legally and as prescribed.
It gives me just enough of a mood boost to, feel real good, a little bit more mental clarity.
So Oregon is the only state where magic mushrooms are legal. Some areas are also considering loosening restrictions and penalties for possessing magic mushrooms. And in Hollandale, the city commission there will hear efforts to pass a resolution on whether to decriminalize the use of psychedelics. In Miami, Jamie Garola, NBC6 News.